Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki jai. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. Glories to Shri Guru and Gauranga. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. We're reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 10, Chapter 46. Uddhava visits Vrindavan. Text 44 to 49. I will read 44 to 48, and then 49 we will chant together. Ivanishasa Bhuvator Vyatita Nandasya Kṛṣṇa Nucharasya Rajan Gopya Samutaya Nirupyadipan Vastun Samabhyarchya Tatin Yamartan Amantan. While Krishna's messenger continued speaking with Nanda, the night ended, O king. The women of the cowherd village rose from bed and, lighting lamps, worshipped their household deities. Then they began churning the yogurt into butter. 45. Tadipadiptar manubhe vireju rajur vikarsha bhuja kankana shaja jalanitambastan harakundala Ishakapola runa kunkama mana. As they pulled on the churning ropes with their bangled arms, the women of Vraja shone with the splendor of their jewels, which reflected the lamp's light. Their hips, breasts, and necklaces moved about, and their faces, anointed with reddish kumkum, glowed radiantly with the luster of their earrings reflecting from their cheeks. 46. Udgayatinam arvindalochanam rajangananam divama trishatani tatanascha nirmantana shabdamishvito nirasyate yena rishamamangalam. As the ladies of Vraja loudly sang the glories of lotus-eyed Kṛṣṇa, their songs, blended with the sound of their churning, ascended to the sky and dissipated all inauspiciousness in every direction. Purport. The gopīs were absorbed in thought of Kṛṣṇa and were thus feeling his presence. Therefore, they could joyfully sing. 47. Bhagavatuttite surye nandadari prajaukasa dishtaratam shatakumpam kashayamiti chabruvan. When the godly sun had risen, the people of Vraja noticed the golden chariot in front of Nanda Maharaja's doorway. Who does this belong to? They asked. Text 48. Akrūra agāt kim vāya kaṅsasya tasādhaka yena nittamatu purim Kṛṣṇa kamalalochana. Perhaps Akrūra has returned, he who fulfilled Kamsa's desire by taking lotus-eyed Kṛṣṇa to Mathura. Purport. The gopīs angrily spoke this statement. Okay, so verse 49, we will chant together. Kim sādhayiṣyati asmābhir, sādhayiṣyati asmābhir, bhartuḥ prītasya niṣkṛtim, tataḥ strīṇāṁ vadantīnām, uddhavo agāt kṛtāhnikaḥ. Chant. Kim sādhayiṣyati asmābhir, bhartuḥ niṣkṛtim, kṛta strīṇāṁ vadantīnām, uddhavo agāt kṛtāhnikaḥ. Sādhayiṣyati asmābhir, bhartuḥ prītasya niṣkṛtim, tataḥ strīṇāṁ vadantīnām, uddhavo agāt kṛtāhnikaḥ. Asmābhir, bhartuḥ prītasya niṣkṛtim, strīṇāṁ vadantīnām, uddhavo agāt kṛtāhnikaḥ. Ladies? Sādhayiṣyati asmābhir, bhartuḥ prītasya niṣkṛtim, tataḥ strīṇāṁ vadantīnām, uddhavo agāt kṛtāhnikaḥ. Sādhayiṣyati asmābhir, bhartuḥ prītasya niṣkṛtim, tataḥ strīṇāṁ vadantīnām, uddhavo agāt kṛtāhnikaḥ. Kim, whether sādhayiṣyati will be accomplished. Asmābhir, with us. Bhartuḥ, of his master. Prītasya, who was satisfied with him. niṣkṛtim, the funeral ritual. Tataḥ, then. Strīṇāṁ, the women. Vadantīnām, as they were speaking. Uddhava, agāt, came there. Kṛta, having performed. Ahnikaḥ, his early morning religious duties. Translation. Is he going to use our flesh to offer funeral oblations for his master, who was so satisfied with his service? As the women were speaking in this way, Uddhava appeared, having finished his early morning duties. Purport. This verse reveals the bitter disappointment the gopīs felt when Akrūra took Kṛṣṇa away. However, they will be pleasantly surprised to see that the unexpected guest is Uddhava. Mukam karati vachalam pangam lankate girim yakipantam hambande sigurum tinatarinam om gyana timirandasya gananjara shalakaya chakshu miritam yana tasame sīkrave namaha. So in verse 44, it says, if you can find it, here. While Krishna's messenger continued speaking with Nanda, the night ended. So this means this whole chapter, this whole conversation took place in one night, overnight. Nanda and Uddhava were speaking. It was the whole night. So we're at the end of the chapter. So I'd like to review the whole chapter before we go on. And so, and this review is taken from Garga Samhita. These are the words of Narada Muni. So he's quoting Nanda. Nanda is first asking, how is my friend Shirasena? Now Kamsa is dead. Yadavas must be very happy. To Kṛṣṇa, now he's going to Kṛṣṇa and Balaram. Do they remember their mother, Yashoda? Do we remember the gopas, the cows, Vraja, Govardhan Hill, Vrindavan Forest, and the shore of the Jamuna? Oh, destiny, when will I see my handsome lotus-eyed son playing again and again in the courtyard with Balaram and the boys? Without Kṛṣṇa, the groves, the gardens, Jamuna, Govardhan, the forest, our homes, this entire universe are flooded with poison. And so this is separation from Kṛṣṇa. It's simultaneously blissful and poisonous. And Nanda and Yashoda, they are experiencing this. He says, this life of eating and sleeping without Kṛṣṇa, whose eyes are like great lotus petals, is wretched and miserable. And so Lord Chaitanya also, he said that Jagaitam nimeshena chakshusha pravishaitam. And without Kṛṣṇa, everything is void. Sometimes we see in this world that a mother loses her son, and she feels like that too. She feels like, I know one example of a mother who had 10 children. She lost one, and her husband said, but you still have 9. No, I cannot get over this. And another mother, she had 7 and she lost one. And she also was lamenting and grieving, but then she realized, okay, Radharani gave me there were twins, so she lost one. And then she said, okay, Radharani gave me one, and she took him back, so, okay, what can I do? And so this is what Nanda is experiencing. He says, I stay alive only by hoping that Kṛṣṇa will return. So Narada is speaking. King Nanda became silent, the hair of his body erect, in his longing to see Kṛṣṇa. He rested his head on a pillow. Uddhavo was watching, and he drenched the pillow with his tears. So Yashoda came, and tears were flowing from her eyes and milk from her breast, because whenever she thinks of Kṛṣṇa, she gives her milk. And she asked Uddhava everything. Does Kṛṣṇa remember me? Does he remember Nanda? Does he remember Nanda's brothers? Does he remember the boys he used to play with? I have only one son. and abandoning his poor mother, my son, has gone away. For those who love him, this is a great calamity. So, sometimes your son may not die, but he may go away, or he may even go into Maya, and then you lament if the son doesn't keep, because we have expectations, of course, but they don't always come true, and that's life. They have the opportunity, but they have the choice also to be a devotee or not, to take up material life again or to go back to Kṛṣṇa. And so of Kṛṣṇa, this is different. This is Kṛṣṇa. And so Yashoda is lamenting. She's remembering how he was begging her for butter and yogurt and how he would eat so much. And he was so playful. And he said she was saying, now, without Kṛṣṇa, every day is like a kalpa, a day of Brahma. And Nanda used to call Kṛṣṇa, please come here, and place him on his lap. And I also tied him with a rope, but now I regret that. And she's feeling regret because she tied him up. So, oh yes, I shouldn't have done, sometimes your kids go away and they grow up and you feel guilty. Oh no, I shouldn't have done that. So it comes all the way from Nanda and Yashoda. They have these feelings. So Uddhava said to them when he saw how they were feeling, you are my masters. Even if the hair in my body would stand erect in ecstasy, my tongue would not have the power to praise you properly. Don't lament. Take these 2 letters from Kṛṣṇa. They also got letters too. Everyone got letters, actually. If you read the Acharya's commentaries, the gopīs got, of course, special letters, and lots of letters, actually, not just one for each group. And the Gopa boys also got letters, and now Nanda and Yashoda, they also got letters from Kṛṣṇa. And so Uddhavo is saying, yes, when they finish their mission, they will come back. And so the whole night they were discussing, and Nanda was starting to think, Uddhava, he wants to enlighten us, saying Kṛṣṇa is the Lord. Yes, Gargamuni said something like that. Your son is just like Narayani. So who can be like Narayani except Narayani? So he must be. But still we think that we know he is our son. That's all we know. He may be Narayani, he may not be, but he's our son. And Garga said, this is your son, so he is our son. See, he's not somebody else's son. When we treat him without reverence, offer him our chilled betel nut, then we feel satisfied. So he must be our son. So Nanda's trying to convince Uddhava that no, he's our son. He's our son. Yes, if we don't put him on our lap, if we don't hold him and kiss him, his face becomes sad. So, and if Yashoda was not his mother, how could she tie him up with ropes? She's his mother. I'm his father. And so, and I saw his miserable face when he was tied up, so I released him, Nanda said. And when he went to Mathura and he killed Chanur and Kamsa, everyone said, oh, Kṛṣṇa, you are Bhagavan, you are the Supreme Lord. But Devaki said, I'm your mother. And Vasudeva said, I'm your father. And others said, we are your uncles, we are your relatives, we are your brothers. And they kept him there. And being unable to come back, I suppose he must have said, yes, I'm the Supreme Lord, Creator. Who can be my mother? Who can be my father, my relative? The scriptures, it says, I reside with that person who has devotion and with no one else. And those houses where I reside, those are my mothers and fathers. So though Uddhava is very intelligent from birth, he doesn't understand. My son said something very intelligent. They are my father and mother who show devotion to me. I live in their house. So I'm sending this message with Uddhava to Kṛṣṇa. Kṛṣṇa, I have devotion to your feet. Be merciful, be pleased with me, so I can attain you by the process of hearing, chanting, remembering, offering obeisances. So when Kṛṣṇa gets this message, he will say in the assembly of the Yadus, you are not able to perform devotional activities in Mathura, but Nanda is doing so. Therefore, he's my father. I will go to his house. So that was the message Nanda sent to Kṛṣṇa in Mathura. Now I have something very interesting from His Holiness Govinda Maharaj in his book Mathura Meets Vrindavan. He talks about this pastime of Uddhava trying to enlighten Nanda, but actually Nanda is going to enlighten Uddhava instead. It's the other way around now. Let's hear how Nanda enlightens Uddhava. So Uddhava gave his long speech. His speech was anavadya, faultless, but not understandable for Nanda Maharaj. So Nanda said to Uddhava, you are a boy. I had some faith you were very old in intelligence, but now I see you're only a boy, not only in intelligence, but also in age. You spoke so many things, but you don't know who you're speaking to. You said we are very fortunate, but one who loses his son is very unfortunate. So how can you say we are fortunate? Many people get a son. Does anyone get a son like Kṛṣṇa? Has anyone got a son like Kṛṣṇa before? So beautiful, so sweet. So you are telling us who are crying, we have lost such an invaluable treasure. You're telling us you are very fortunate. No, you're ridiculing us. If you said there is no one in this world as unfortunate as us, I would have been pleased and happy with you. Then my distress due to the fire of separation would have been extinguished. But you made the fire more blaze by telling us we are fortunate. And otherwise, you're telling us about Bhagavat Tattva. I don't know Shastra, but I've heard from the sadhus, there is one Bhagavan. He is the guru and controller of the universe. He's Mulakaran, original cause, Prakriti and Purusha. He is Anadi, beginningless. Sarveshwara, supreme controller. I know Bhagavan is Narayani. He's in our house in the form of Shalagram. And you said Narayani is our Kṛṣṇa? No. I excuse you. I have not read Shastra, but I heard from the mouths of Mahatmas, Narayani is God. And there are some symptoms in Narayani, but those symptoms are not even a single drop in my Kṛṣṇa. He doesn't have any of those symptoms, no. I excuse you, because you're a boy, you don't know what you're saying. You said Narayani is the cause of all causes. But my Kṛṣṇa is just a simple milk-fed child. Narayani is pure, Narayani is peaceful. He is apapavidha, he's sinless. My Kṛṣṇa is fickle, greedy, and angry. Where is the symptom of Narayani in my Kṛṣṇa? How is he Narayani? Kṛṣṇa is a thief and a liar. So he steals butter. He steals so many things. How can he be Narayani? He's dependent on us. Where is the symptom of Narayani? There is no similarity. Narayani is satya sankalpa, truthful, but my Kṛṣṇa is very expert in speaking lies. Narayani is aptakama, self-satisfied. He doesn't need anything beyond hunger and thirst. But I see my Kṛṣṇa cries when he's hungry. He's restless when he's hungry and thirsty. How can he be Narayani? He's not Narayani. Narayani is worshipable by everyone, but my Kṛṣṇa carries my shoes on his head. How is he like Narayani? He's not Narayani, no. I may commit a mistake, but Bhagavan never commits a mistake. If Kṛṣṇa is Bhagavan, why is he calling us Baba and Ma, father and mother? You say he has no Baba, no Ma. Kṛṣṇa is dependent on us. He feels asahaya, helpless, when he cannot get our help. And so, it is a fact, by the unlimited mercy of Narayana, we have gotten a son like Kṛṣṇa. And I know very well Kṛṣṇa is our son. So, Uddhava, before he came to Vrindavan from Mathura, he was thinking of Nanda. And he saw Kṛṣṇa crying so much every time he was thinking of Nanda, talking about him. And so Uddhava came to give consolation to Nanda, And Uddhava was thinking, if someone is crying due to having lost their son in this material world, what will you say to them to give them consolation? Don't cry. This material son, material relationship is temporary. Why are you crying for temporary relationships and temporary material son? That is not real. But how can I tell Nanda not to cry? He's crying for Kṛṣṇa. If someone has to cry, crying for Kṛṣṇa, that's very good. You should cry for Kṛṣṇa. This is nice. So how can I tell him not to cry? And so Gaura Govinda Maharaj said he was starting a school for crying. He was starting a school in Bhubaneswar for crying for Kṛṣṇa. And one time I was at Govardhan at a retreat with Sachinandan Swami. And he was saying, yes, we must cry for Kṛṣṇa. And he asked us the question, have you all cried sufficiently? Now there's an example of the early days in Moscow, Russia. And so one devotee in my class, he was from Moscow, Russia. He joined in the very early days. Now, what did they do in the early days in Moscow? How did they chant japa? Everyone had to choose a picture of Kṛṣṇa in the temple, sit in front of the Kṛṣṇa picture and cry. And they all had to cry. And so this devotee said, yeah, he was sitting in front of the picture, and it took him about 3 days to start crying, but he was crying. And that was how they used to chant japa in Moscow temple, and they're very strict in Russia. So everybody had to cry. Now we were crying actually when Prabhupada left, and we were feeling separation. I was in Calcutta, and Prabhupada was here in Vrindavan. And Prabhupada had promised to stay, so we thought, okay, he's staying. He's not going. He had promised. I'm not going. All right. So then they were planning to come to Mayapur. They had this plan. So we were getting ready in Calcutta because every time he would go to Mayapur, he would stop in Calcutta first and then go to Mayapur. And Jayapataka Maharaj had left Vrindavan to get things ready in Mayapur. But and he went by train. So while he was on the way, Prabhupada left. And so we had decorated the temple. We had a huge lotus flower garlands around the Vyasasan, the deities everywhere. Jayapataka Maharaj came to the door of our temple. He took one look at the Vyasasan and he flew back to Vrindavan. He didn't even step one foot. And so we were doing our service and crying at the same time. That's what we were doing on that day after. We were just crying and doing our service. So we got a little taste of separation when Prabhupada left. Because he said he wasn't going to leave, so we couldn't believe it. How come he left? Why did he leave? He promised us he wasn't going to leave, and then he left. And so then, we experienced that. Now, I'll read a little bit from Prabhupada's words from Nectar of Devotion. When Kṛṣṇa was absent from Vrindavan and staying in Mathura, Srimati Radharani sent news to him. His mother, Yashoda, was feeling such separation from him. There was foam coming from her mouth like the foam on the shore of the ocean, and raising her eyes like the waves of the ocean, and rolling on the ground and creating a tumultuous roaring sound. So these symptoms are called apasmara, or forgetfulness. One completely forgets his position when he manifests these symptoms. And then one more quote from Nectar of Devotion. When Mother Yashoda was very anxiously waiting for Kṛṣṇa to return from Mathura, Maharaj Nanda told her, don't worry, draw your beautiful lotus-like face. Don't breathe so hotly. I will go immediately with Akrūra to the palace of Kamsa and get your son back for you. And so this is going on at this point in Bhagavatam. So we'll go to verse 45, how the gopīs were churning butter and singing the glories. Well, the next verse is singing. So Uddhava, when he entered Vrindavan, at this point, he was hearing the gopī songs in the morning, and he was thinking, love for Kṛṣṇa dances in Nanda's village. So here, at first, in the morning, he was seeing the aspect of Vrindavan when Kṛṣṇa is present. But then, in the next verse also the same thing. The ladies were churning butter, their songs were going and dissipating inauspiciousness in every direction. And they were wearing colorful clothes and ornaments. So this is how it was when Kṛṣṇa was present. He was seeing. Biha Bhagavatamrita, there is a verse which says, "Again and again I offer respects to the dust from the feet of the women of Nanda Maharaj's cover village. When these gopis loudly chant the glories of Kṛṣṇa, vibration purifies the three worlds." So Uddhava, he was experiencing this chanting, and actually when we go on Harinam Sankirtan, that chanting also dissipates the darkness of the universe, so we can follow in their footsteps. So verse 47, now the people are noticing the chariot, and the gopis are back in separation and seeing the chariot. So here, now he's seeing, now Braja in separation from Kṛṣṇa is coming from verse 47. And verse 48, the gopis are angry. Maybe this is Akrūra coming back again to give us more trouble. And today's verse is going to use our flesh to offer funeral oblations. So then Uddhava appeared as the women were speaking. And Jiva Goswami says he went to the place where the gopis were meeting every day to share their misery. Now in Krishna book, Prabhupada explains this verse. He said, all the gopis conjectured Akrūra might have come again to fulfill another cruel plan. But they thought, we are now dead bodies without our Supreme Master Kṛṣṇa. What further act can Akrūra perpetrate against these dead bodies? And so then Uddhava came in front of them. So, yes, Nectar of Devotion describes more symptoms about the friends, all the people of Vrindavan are so afflicted, they look like they're diseased. Their bodies are feverish, they cannot move properly, and they're lying on the ground and breathing heavily. So these were signs of separation from Kṛṣṇa. And even when Kṛṣṇa was present, the gopis were feeling separation from him during the day. And so in Kṛṣṇa book, Prabhupada tells us that we should feel these feelings of separation even now, and that is the teaching of Lord Chaitanya. So I'll read these words from Srila Prabhupada, what he says. The gopis of Vrindavan were so attached to Kṛṣṇa, they were not satisfied simply with the rasa dance at night. They wanted to associate with him and enjoy his company during daytime also. When Kṛṣṇa went to the forest with his cowherd boyfriends and cows, the gopis did not physically take part, but their hearts went with him. And because their hearts went, they were able to enjoy his company through strong feelings of separation. So here in Vrindavan, we see these T-shirts. I left my heart in Vrindavan. So that's a good place for your heart to be. That's just like the gopis. When Kṛṣṇa would leave in the day, he was feeling, their hearts went with him. So when you leave Vrindavan, your heart should stay here. And then you'll be in Vrindavan, wherever you may go. So this is, Srila Prabhupada said, to acquire the strong feeling of separation is the teaching of Lord Chaitanya and his direct disciples, the 6 Goswamis. When we are not in physical contact with Kṛṣṇa, we can associate with him like the gopis through feelings of separation. So, and this is the highest perfectional level. So the 6 Goswamis, they left everything, but they were so enriched with the feelings of the gopis' separation that they were experiencing pleasure at every moment. So we're hearing all these, seems like terrible symptoms. They're diseased, they're foaming at the mouth, they're falling on the floor. And here Prabhupada is saying they enjoyed transcendental pleasure at every moment. So this is, we don't understand this. If we do this in this world, we think we're miserable. But spiritually, it's different. It's a different feeling. It's a different idea. And so Srila Prabhupada finally says that those who are in the simple succession of Madhva-Gaudiya Sampradaya should always feel separation from Kṛṣṇa. Worship his form, discuss his teaching, his pastime, his qualities. That will enrich the devotees to the highest devotional perfection. Feeling constant separation while engaged in the service of the Lord is perfection of Kṛṣṇa consciousness. And so there is another comment in one purport in first canto that I just read. Feeling the separation from the Lord is undoubtedly painful to the devotee, but because it is in connection with the Lord, it has a specific transcendental effect which pacifies the heart. Feelings of separation are also sources of transcendental bliss, never comparable to contaminated material feelings of separation. Okay, so we're supposed to be feeling separation from Kṛṣṇa. We are feeling separation from Srila Prabhupada, so that gives us an idea for us that how it must feel to be separated from Kṛṣṇa. So I'll stop here. If there's any questions or comments, you can ask at this point. Uh-oh, you don't have a question. Uh-oh. Oh, you can't talk. Okay, that's all right. Oh, sign language.
Thank you for relating that to the loss of the son, because I had a child that passed away.
Oh.
I have such a feeling in this spot because there's nothing you can do.
Yeah, there's nothing you can do. Yeah, this.
We have to be more dependent, so I have to remember that.
Okay, so you lost your son. I'll repeat it in case they didn't hear it at the beginning. You lost your son, and there's nothing you can do, and you're just despondent. And so we have to depend on Kṛṣṇa. Okay, one more, he said.
I have one more son.
Oh, you have one more son. Well, Kṛṣṇa gave you something. Yes, you want to talk?
You mentioned in Moscow how they were,
Yeah.
what their duty was in front of the picture. When I joined in 71, first temple I lived in was in Pittsburgh, on the way to Vrindavan, and I stayed there for a few weeks. I wasn't given any instructions, but there was one picture of the universal form on the wall. And every morning I would sit in front of the painting and chant and look, and I was determined to see him move. After 3 days he moved. At least I thought he moved. So yeah, we all have our little thing when we come, our expectations and our hopes.
Yes.
Quick fix.
Isn't that interesting? I do have a story about the deities moving. There was one, outside photographer, not a devotee, who came to take pictures of the deities in I believe Melbourne it was, Australia. So he's taking the pictures, and all of a sudden he stopped. He said, "Hey, you have to fix her veil. She moved. His photographer, he can't move, And so someone asked me, how come the deities move for him? And I said, well, that's between them and him. He must have done something to get that gift. Somebody over here. Hare Krishna.
Just like we are separate from Prabhupada.
We're separate from Prabhupada.
We feel separation. But when we hear him speaking or giving class or something, then we see that we are connected with him.
When you hear Prabhupada, okay, very good. When you hear him speaking or giving class, we feel connected. Yes, sometimes there were devotees. There was one man in Juhu, Bombay, Bogila Patel, I think his name was. And as soon as the first time he heard the Prabhupada singing, he just started crying and crying. Because he didn't even meet Prabhupada, but he just heard him singing, and that was enough. His vibration is not from this world. It's complete, transcendental. Okay? Yes?
Thank you for the wonderful class. Very inspiring.
Thank you.
And
Prabhupada's mercy.
that was highlighted is amazing. That is what makes us very distinct from other Vaishnava bona fide Vaishnavas is that the Vipralambha,
Yes, Vipralambha makes
which
us
is most prominent in Gaudiya Vaishnava.
Gaudiya Vaishnava. Lord Chaitanya.
Sometimes people ask me when I was in Vrindavan, you must have heard from different Vaishnava saints, from different Vaishnava sampradayas. And I've had the opportunity to hear them as well, but I still, this point that you made, Mataji, that none other than how fortunate we are under Mahaprabhu's umbrella about the Vipralambha, service and separation, which is distinct from the other Vaishnava groups. And that is the highest, and we find it in this chapter,
Yes.
and especially in the last verse where even the gopīs are so disappointed by using such harsh words.
Yes. Yeah, next chapter also. It will be there. Okay, anybody else have a question or comment? There, over there.
Hello, sir. Thank you, Mataji. I realized by hearing you that I always forget about feeling separation from Krishna. My mind goes in doing many other things, even supposedly devotional, but I forget that actually I should cry for Krishna. So thank you. You remind me. I forget all the time.
Yeah, Prabhupada.
Also, I was thinking, I don't know what you think about that actually the Vatsalya in the material world is a perfect reflection of the original Vatsalya in the spiritual world. So that means actually Krishna is really the son of Nanda Maharaj.
Krishna is?
Is really the son of Nanda Maharaj. It is real that in this material world, if we are the son of a daughter.
Yeah, I mean, it's a perverted reflection. So yes, it's coming from the spiritual world. We have the same feelings. We have these natural feelings in our heart, but here we have it for material sons, material friends, yes. Any other question? Okay.
Just one quick point, Mataji. Separation is just not felt by the devotees. Our Rasikacharya has also explained one of the reasons for sending Uddhavo to Vrindavan is also because Krishna felt separation from them.
Yes, Krishna, yes. That was mentioned, that he was crying every time he talked about Nanda. Krishna was feeling separation. Even in the next chapter, it's more about the gopīs. And, he was with his queens at night. He would be calling out Radha. He would be calling out the names of the gopīs. And the queens were thinking, oh dear. We are not the best. He was calling out to his friends and gopīs while he was in Dwarka at night dreaming. And he was dreaming about them, and they were dreaming about him. And one of the messages, the secret messages he sent back was that you think it's a dream, but actually I'm with you at night. And so, yes, he was there every night with them. Okay.
Thank you.
Any other comments or questions? Oh, in the back. Raja Lakshmi. Raise your hand. Yeah.
I would like to know when we can worship deity as other deities. When is it possible for Yashta to have other deities? Is it necessary to have a vadantīnām or?
Oh, okay. That's a very good question. You can have Gaura without any restriction, because Srila Prabhupada, like I believe in 1974, he told Dhananjaya he should sell Gaura deities to materialistic people, like dolls. Happy dolls. You call them happy dolls, and you give them to non-devotees, and they can have them, and they can put clothes on them, and they can offer incense. Yeah, so Gaura no problem. You can have Gaura without any problem. And now Radha Krishna, you have to ask your guru. Anything besides Gaura-Nitāya, ask your guru about that. I mean, Gopal is okay. That's all over India. Lada Gopal. Gaura-Nitāya is fine. If they can have Gaura-Nitāya, so can you. Yeah. Isn't that interesting? He wanted to sell them. Okay, where's the microphone? Yeah.
He did say that it couldn't interfere with your temple activities and the temple
Oh,
program.
yes, yes.
Not that you could just sit home and worship your deity
Yeah.
and ignore the temple. That was first.
Yeah, the restriction is that not that you don't go here to Mangalarti and do and the program here. You still have to go to the program. Like I have deities, I have lots of deities. So, yeah, I do it before Mangalarti. I do my puja. Radha Krishna, Gaura-Nitāya, Prabhupada, Gopal. So yeah, I come to Mangalarti and yeah, class. Yeah. Yeah?
There's one story, Srila Prabhupada. He gave the first Srila, right, Pradyumna Prabhu.
Oh,
that he was given in Hyderabad when they had the installation of the deities, the Brahmins there. They gifted Srila Prabhupada a Srila.
oh yeah.
And Srila Prabhupada kept it for some time, then he came to Vrindavan. And then he called Pradyumna in, and he told Pradyumna, you can worship. And he told, very simple, he said, bathe, oil, give a little fruit. So then some days went by, Prabhupada was here, Pradyumna was here, and Prabhupada was giving class. Pradyumna wasn't in class. They said, where is Pradyumna? So then they found out he was worshiping the Shiva. And Prabhupada said, first Guru Puja, then Guru Puja.
Okay. So remember all that. Yeah, I remember I was Pujari in Calcutta, and I think it was Pradyumna who also gave me a Shila. It was like the first Shila in ISKCON. And I didn't know how to worship. I just kept it behind Krishna's lotus feet, Govinda. And then it was on its way to Mayapur. So I didn't know anything about worship, so I thought, okay, I'll just keep it by Krishna's feet and he'll get whatever he needs. And then he went to Mayapur.
Sometimes they say some of us in ISKCON, we're fanatics.
Yeah.
I say, yes, Prabhupada was also a fanatic. Also in Calcutta, he would leave his room and come to the back of the temple room, Mangalarti. And he would see all the devotees that were there. There was just a few, maybe half a dozen devotees. And he'd see the deities. And then one day he went up to the one devotee, tapped him and said, where were you yesterday? And the devotee said, Prabhupada, I was at your house where your deities were.
Oh, in Vrindavan.
In
Calcutta.
He went
Oh,
to
that
visit.
house.
Yeah, in Calcutta. He said, I went there for Mangalarti.
Huh.
And Prabhupada said, this is your home. Not there. He said, this is your home. So this is, Prabhupada trained us. He was very strict as far as
Mangalarti,
go,
chanting.
what we could do, who we could hear from, what books we could read. These ideas of being fanatic, we learned from him. Because he knew he had to train us. Others were just going to confuse us.
Yeah. I'll just tell one story about Prabhupada coming to Mangalarti. I was doing Mangalarti. I was the pujari. And I turned around, and there was Prabhupada. Maybe 6 inches away from me, there was no separation between basically the deity room and the temple. It was just a chain with some velvet on it, and there he was, right behind me. So I didn't know, am I supposed to offer him the ghee lamp? Am I supposed to do puja? What am I supposed to do? So I think I did a real fast puja, offer him the ghee lamp. And then whole arti was there behind me, and I was attentive, I was nervous, I was concentrated, I was focused. And then after that, I thought, well, I should do all my service like that. Prabhupada's standing behind me, watching me. So that was that was good. Okay.
I experienced that too as I was in Mumbai. Dr. Kumar said he would sometimes ask me to do the Mangal Arti. I said, you know what? I'm just going to do it because, you know, I never know which day. So I hear Prabhupada translate the 7th canto in the next room. We were on the 7th floor. And Prabhupada would come out as I was offering the flower, and I would give the flower to Prabhupada. This happened every day.
Oh, wow. Wow. Yeah, Prabhupada, Mangalarti stories. Any other stories? Questions? Okay. So, guys, Prabhupada, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.